Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of What's on My Desk. Well, I'll take that back. Hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of What's on My Beach. Now, even though it's the middle of December, I happen to be on a beautiful beach. So what I did is I gathered a few watches from my friends that are summer related and beach related. I'm going to show you today the summer edition Offshore from AP, the Lady Alinghi from Audemars Piguet, and a Rolex Deep Sea, aka James Cameron. I'm going to start with the Lady AP Alinghi Offshore, probably one of my favorite ladies watches of all time, and it just so happened it belongs to my wife. Now, the Lady Alinghi is a standard ladies offshore size, which is a 38mm. It is an all-white watch, and it was made to commemorate the Alinghi Cup when Audemars Piguet had a partnership with them. It is a chronograph, solid back, a limited edition of 500 pieces, and in reality, outside of its standard ladies offshore movement, there's really not much to say about the watch, with the exception of the fact that this is a very rare model to find. And not because they only made 500 pieces, but because for the most part, ladies, they don't resell their watches. Once they get something and they like it, they tend to keep them. Even those that have husbands in the business, they still want to keep all their watches. They don't want to sell them ever. In general, the ladies offshores are something that are very, very rare to find. My wife owns a few, such as Don Ramon de la Cruz, the Lady Cat, the Carbon Ladies, as well as this Alinghi, and you'd be hard pressed to find any of them out on the market anymore, just because, again, they don't want to sell their stuff. They just want to hold on to it. Overall, it's a perfect summer watch for any lady to wear on the beach. It's waterproof, it's all white, it's a beautiful piece, and it's really comfortable to wear on the rubber strap, whether you're in the water or in the sand. Next up is a relative newcomer. It's called the Summer Edition. And why is it called the Summer Edition? Well, look at it. It looks like a perfect summer watch. Let me show you a little close-up of it. So you're looking at a new style, standard 45mm Audemars Piguet Offshore. Same movement as all the other one, exhibition back. It's done in a rose gold with a white strap and a matching white dial. And this watch just screams beach, summer, hence Summer Edition. This was a limited edition of 450 pieces. But there are 50 more just like it floating around there somewhere. They're called the Biblos edition, but if I put the two side by side, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. In fact, the watches are actually identical. The Biblos edition was made for some boutique in Europe, and the Summer edition was just an overall limited edition. What can be said about this watch, with the exception of the fact that these things are impossible to get? They're a boutique only edition, and really you'd be hard pressed to pick this watch up for anything less than retail. If you're lucky, maybe you'll get a 5 to 10% discount. A beautiful watch overall, beautifully done. Love the tang buckle. I hate the deploying buckle because it digs into the side of your wrist. So again, a perfect summer watch. Whether you're in Aruba, Saint Tropez, or St. Bart's, this is the perfect watch to wear in the summer or on the beach. Sort of a really good match to the Lady Alinghi. Last but not least, I want to talk about everyone's favorite and the king of all watches. You guessed it, it's Rolex. Yes, Rolex is the king of all watches. It's not Patek Philippe, it's not Audemars Piguet, it is simply Rolex. In terms of sales, in terms of popularity, in terms of everything, Rolex is king. And if Rolex is number one up here, number two is way down here in the sand. Why? These guys are geniuses in marketing. These guys are geniuses in distribution. They sell hundreds and hundreds of thousands of watches a year, yet they're able to keep the supply and demand at such levels that stainless steel models such as this Deep Sea, which I'm about to show you, they still sell at retail or more. First, let me tell you about this watch, and we can talk a little more about Rolex in a second. So this is the Deep Sea James, aka James Cameron. Now, what makes this one different from the first one is the slightly graduated blue dial. I don't know if you can see that from here, but this watch supposedly was made in a lot less of an edition than the regular model, and out came the hype. Anytime a new Rolex comes out in the market, it gets so hyped up that people tend to pay over list for it. After a while, it comes down. Of course, a few choice models such as this James Cameron Deep Sea still trade at retail or above. Definitely a perfect watch for the beach if you're somebody that wants to go diving. Okay, this thing is waterproof up to 12,000 feet. Now, I don't know anyone that dives that deep. But if you wanted to go out in the submarine, or if you wanted to actually try to dive that deep, you could do it in this watch. Of course, it's originally the Rolex Submariner Sea Dweller. Again, the edition is the Deep Sea, but it still has all the characteristics of the original Submariner and of the original Sea Dweller. And what separates this watch from others, what makes it a Sea Dweller, is actually this gas escape valve, which is here on the side, as you can see. And it also says it inside the bezel. So what that does is, once you get to a particular depth, and don't quote me, I don't know what that depth is exactly, you're supposed to depress that button in order to let the gas out of the body of the watch so it doesn't explode on your wrist from going in too deep. Overall, again, a perfect watch for the beach. Rolex is one of those watches you can throw it up against the wall, it'll take a beating for you, no questions asked. This is probably one of the most durable brands out there. An easiest watch to fix should it break on you by some odd chance, but nevertheless, this is a great watch to have on the beach. You can throw it in the sand and nothing will happen to you. You can go in the water with it. Again, a really nice watch to have in the summer or on the beach, wherever you might be. Okay. So last but not least, I mentioned I'll talk about Rolex some more, why Rolex is #1 by far. I would probably say brand name recognition. It doesn't matter where you are. You can be stuck in the middle of a desert, dying of thirst with no food. If you have a Rolex on your wrist, you can buy yourself 6 camels and 6 wives to go along with it, because everybody knows the brand. I don't care if you're in the tip of Africa, if you're in Asia, or in the deep woods of Himalaya somewhere, everybody knows what a Rolex is and what a Rolex is worth. So yes, these guys are definitely the kings. They're definitely #1, and they will stay #1 for a long, long time. Last but not least, let me show you what's on my wrist. I ended up taking with me the AP Offshore Diver, which I believe I reviewed on one of my last episodes, so you guys know all the details of it. Again, it's lightweight, it's waterproof, it's something I can go diving in. Definitely a comfortable watch to have on vacation with you. Well, I hope you guys enjoy this special edition of What's on My Desk, or What's on My Beach, rather. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for more watch reviews and other videos. Until next time.